Have you ever seen something so magical you just thought, no way, that's impossible? For me, it was in these old movies I watched when I was a kid. What I didn't know back then is that this impossible magic, well, it's not only real, it's a fundamental law of the universe that affects us every single day. And it all starts with a memory. So, when I was a kid, I was absolutely obsessed with these Janapada movies by a director named Vittalacharya. They were these amazing folklore films, just packed with heroes, monsters, and this kind of on screen magic that completely had me hooked. And in pretty much every single one of these movies, there would be a sorcerer who had this one trick that just blew my mind. He could show up in two different places at the exact same time. We're talking separated by thousands of miles, but acting in perfect sync. As a kid, watching this, I was just mesmerized. My only thought was this pure, simple wonder, how is that even possible? It felt like I was watching someone just break the rules of reality right there on the screen. But you know how it goes. You grow up, that sense of wonder gets replaced by adult logic. I learned about filmmaking, and that incredible magic was suddenly explained away with a really simple, kind of disappointing phrase. Oh, it's just camera tricks. A simple illusion, and that was that. Well, here's the thing. I was wrong. My adult brain was wrong. And that sense of wonder I had as a kid, it was actually onto something really, really profound. The magic wasn't just in the movies. Turns out, it's woven into the very fabric of reality. It all comes down to this incredible concept in quantum physics called entanglement. Basically, it's a phenomenon where two particles become linked, and whatever happens to one of them instantly affects the other, no matter how far apart they are. This was so bizarre that Einstein himself couldn't quite wrap his head around it. He famously called it spooky action at a distance. He thought it was weird, but hey, it's a proven reality of our universe. Sounds a lot like magic, doesn't it? So here's how it works. Imagine you link two particles. Then you separate them. And I mean really separate them, like by the width of a galaxy. The very moment you mess with one of them, its partner, light years away, reacts. Not at the speed of light, but instantly. Okay, I know what you're thinking. That's a cool fact about tiny particles, but what's that got to do with me? Well, this spooky action isn't just happening in a physics lab. We see a version of this playing out in our workplaces all of the time. Think about this scenario. A decision gets made in an office in New York, and almost at that very moment, a team in Hyderabad feels the impact. And a lot of the time, not a single email or message has been sent yet. This is what corporate entanglement looks like. A budget gets slashed in that New York boardroom, and a project team halfway across the world suddenly finds their work is completely pointless. They're paralyzed in an instant. Now that is spooky action at a distance. So what does all this really mean? It means this principle of deep, instantaneous connection. It isn't just some weird thing in physics or a neat metaphor for business. It's pointing to a fundamental truth about how our entire universe is put together. Just think about it. A quantum particle that can be in multiple places at once. A sorcerer who shows up in two locations at the same time. A single business decision that instantly impacts a team across the globe. They're all just different ways of seeing the exact same, deeply connected idea. The takeaway here is both super simple and kind of mind-blowing. Our actions, our decisions, our lives, it's all part of this giant interconnected web. We are way more entangled with each other and everything around us than we ever consciously realize. So when I think back to those old films, to that feeling of awe watching that sorcerer do his impossible trick, I realize now that I wasn't just watching a fantasy. That cinematic magic was actually a beautiful reflection of the strange, deep, and interconnected reality of our quantum universe. So the question for all of us then is this. If we really are all this connected, if our actions create these instant ripples, how can we be more mindful of this invisible force? And how can we maybe even harness that entanglement to build, to create, and to lead a little bit better?